Hello and welcome to Buddies Much. My name's Sean.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Chase.
And today we are talking about Arcane, brand new show on Netflix. But first, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, we'd really appreciate the viewership and start getting those numbers up there.
Even if you don't like us, still subscribe. Just ignore the notifications.
Dislike button's gone, so dislike us. No, I'm just kidding.
Tell a friend. But we are talking about Arcane. If you don't know, this is a new Netflix series based on League of Legends.
Popular video game.
And it's been popular for a long time. This is a game that we've played for years.
We're not good, but we've played for years.
Keyword play.
It was started by Riot Games way back in, 2011? Something like that? 2010
or
no,
12.
before that.
Well, League.
Oh, when we started playing then. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it came out in 2011.
I'm pretty sure it came out.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Because the 10-year anniversary was 2020.
Oh, okay.
So it was like 2010, 2011. But has been a huge game since then.
With a lot of weird, tons of lore. For a video game, there's insane amount of lore.
I mean, they have an insane amount of characters, something like 150 now.
Yeah, something like that.
But recently, I want to say sometime in the last 2 years, Riot has been branching out. They've been doing different kinds of games. You might have heard of Valorant. You might have heard of
Teamfight Tactics.
TFT.
TFT, Teamfight Tactics. Blade of the Rune King is an RPG that just came out. And they're doing a TV series, which is Arcane, which is what we're talking about. So,
Also, important to note, before the TV series, if you don't know anything about League, they would do cinematic trailers from time to time, just, about their characters, and they were really freaking good.
oh yeah.
And I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure that was a really good jumping off point. People loved the trailers so much, oh, we can pump these cinematic trailers out, and people are going crazy for them. They knew that a show would do really well.
So I think that has a lot to do with, like Chase was saying, the lore is so extensive.
Yeah.
That,
And there's only one person in this room that knows, all the lore.
Sure. There's always a joke in League. You gotta nerf the lore.
But, I'm a lore junkie. I mean, I love all the stories, and there's so much, and they're so interconnected, and a show is something that a lot of people have been waiting for. So first impressions.
Who wants to start? I'm still
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
Maybe higher.
This is just season 1, right?
I thought we were doing the whole thing. Or are you doing Act 1, Act 2, Act 3?
Oh, that's
all
what
the
I
same
meant. The
season.
whole act.
Okay.
All 9 episodes.
All 9 episodes consist of one
Yes.
season. Okay.
That's
That's what we're doing.
I'm going to say a 9 also. Yeah.
I was a little lower. I was going to give it an 8.5. But
close enough.
Essentially a 9. Yeah, it's good.
I think
Just round it up.
anything that can get to me emotionally, you're watching and I did have a tear roll down at a point or two, and I think that's really what's good is that they can get to you like that. It was a really good show.
So do we go into likes?
Yeah, let's go for it. I mean,
Do you want to take it act by act?
yeah, let's do that. Actually, I might get some stuff confused, but I think I'll be okay for the most part.
Just speaking of, it's weird that they released it like that, right?
I actually kind of
It was
enjoyed it.
3 episodes at a time by each week.
Let you stew.
But I liked that it was each week, because a lot of times, doing 1 episode a week is annoying, and so you have to wait.
I'm just surprised.
It was enough.
Charge.
It was enough
for
to hold
this.
me over till the next week. I feel
Okay,
like.
all right.
I don't know. I liked it. But what did you guys think of Act 1? Or what were some of your? Actually, no. We'll open it up. What were your likes for the show?
Okay, I'll start off. The soundtrack, I thought was really good, minus Imagine Dragons.
Really? You didn't like the Imagine Dragons?
I'm not too big of an Imagine Dragons fan.
Okay.
But I think the soundtrack was very well picked out, especially in intense parts. And
Oh,
things like that.
definitely.
For sure.
They make you feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Act 1, I really liked seeing all the baby champions. Baby Echo.
Oh, Baby Echo is cute.
You
I
know.
love that little gap in his teeth.
You got Powder and, I don't know. I liked it all. I like, just because you never really think about these characters as kids and whatnot.
It's so true. You only think of them as they are in the game. You don't really think of like,
Except for Annie.
well, yeah, yeah, but like you don't think about like their past or their future. You just, oh, this is what that little snippet of lore. You know what I mean? What about you, Sean? What'd you like?
I think Act 1 was my favorite. They do a really good job of attaching you to the characters immediately. And I'm saying that from a perspective of someone who already knows the stories behind all that stuff. But even someone who didn't know the story, like me and my wife watched it together, she, again, instantly attached, like, without knowing the lore. And I think they did a really good job of showing vulnerability.
Also, the animation's very different.
It was. I like the first 2 minutes, I was like, I don't know about this. And then I completely forgot about it and was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, you get into it.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Sean. I think a lot, like, if you don't know anything about League, you can still watch this perfectly fine as a really good fantasy story.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you don't need to know anything. And if you do know something, great. You've got some cool Easter eggs in there.
Yeah.
But, like, the story is very simple to follow, but if you do happen to know more, then it's a little more complex, if that makes sense. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Anything else you liked?
I think exactly that with the Easter eggs, that someone who doesn't know anything would like the show, but someone who does know something like us can see just the little things they put in there, and you see like, oh, maybe that's this character, and then oh, it pays off, and yes, it was that character, and you can see kind of some things that coincide with the lore that they already have.
Right. So let me ask you this before I get into my likes. In Act 1, we have two overall stories happening. You have the Vi and Powder story, you know, the rascals that are
Down in the Undercity.
Yeah, they're down in the Undercity.
The
and
bot
they're
lane.
doing what they can to survive. And then
Down the lanes.
You've got, and then the other story, you've got the Piltover story, I'll call it, with Jace and Victor. Which story did you like in Act 1 better?
Act 1 was all about the underground.
Underground, you?
Yeah.
I was about tied.
Really? I have to agree with Sean. I liked the Underground way better, but we'll get into Act 2 and 3 because it slowly switches for me, which is weird.
I agree.
Because, like
near the end, I was all about Piltover.
Same. I was really attached to that. I didn't think I was going to because it was more like a political conflict, and I was like, it's whatever. But it actually ended up being a lot more interesting to me than the other one.
Yeah.
But my likes, I really liked the show. The animation was very well done. This sounds like corny, but just the overall plot, like it was like simplistic but also kind of deep at the same time, because like, you know, that Silco and Vander, they're like in Act 1, I'm trying to like not spoil the rest of the action. You know something's going on there between Vander and Silco. We don't really know what though.
Yeah.
And then you kind of find out at the end when at the end when Vander dies?
Yeah.
Is that Act 1? Act 1.
The end of Act 1.
At the end of Act 1 is when Vander dies, and
Vander
quote
dies.
unquote, quote unquote, right?
Asterisk.
Yeah. And then you see Silco, who I thought, honestly, one of my favorite characters.
Silco is my second favorite character,
which is interesting because Silco, if you don't know, is not a character in League of Legends.
Yeah.
And for them,
yet.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like I'd be totally down if they made him, but for them to take a character who's not in League and make him
like
so much cool,
him
so much cooler than the characters. It's just like, oh man, he was such a good villain.
Yeah.
And he's setting up, you know, trying to establish Zon, which is pretty cool. I mean, we didn't know that at the time, but
he did mention that to Vander,
in Act 1.
In Act 1,
okay,
where he's like, we could have had our vision, and you backed out, you know.
And then you got the whole drug problem, and sometimes it would throw me because I'm like, the animation kind of seems like it's tame, but then you see like a hooker and then you'll see like somebody smoking and you're like, oh, and there's something brutal, someone get murdered and you're like, oh yeah, this is a pretty violent show.
That's something I actually appreciated. Like
yeah,
it was kind
nice.
of like you said, it was kind of set up like a kid's show, but there was some pretty brutal scenes.
Like Vi says the F word.
Yeah.
Like,
and like people just getting ripped to pieces. Like I loved that they weren't afraid to go there, especially with this genre, I guess. It like a dystopian Undercity type thing that it did go very wrong for a lot of people, and that's good.
Yeah, I guess we can just talk about the thing as a whole. Or is there any other likes? We'll probably mention more likes as
Yeah,
we talk
there's
about
more.
the dislikes. Cause
My
there probably
likes are all in Act 2 and 3.
We can probably just open it up.
Yeah, I mean, Act 1 was probably my favorite, especially that scene at the end with Jinx and Silco. Ooh, that got me.
Yeah, there's more likes, but I'll talk about mine later.
So Act 2. I honestly
kinda
wasn't
forget.
a fan of Act 2.
I kind of forget which one that is.
The end of Act 2 was my
that's,
favorite.
That's the time skip.
I don't know. I feel like Act 2 was 100% setup. Like,
What was the end of Act 2?
End of Act 2 is Vi and Jinx.
we're fighting on that rooftop.
Oh, yeah, with Caitlyn down in the lanes.
Jinx. Okay, I really liked Act 2 mainly because of the Jinx story.
Yeah, I agree.
How, she goes back to the old arcade, just like murks that bird. And I was like, oh, wow. And then, just you could see her, mental decay.
That is one of the things I loved about the show, because I thought they were going to mess it up hard, but they actually showed a progressive de-evolution
Yeah.
of Jinx,
It
because
wasn't
Jinx
just
is
like,
saw
"Ooh,
it-
I'm crazy."
You saw it in episode 3 when they're
Yeah.
no, you're always mess things up. And she's like,
She's hitting her head. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
she's got that serum in her, and you
well,
finally,
sorry, end of Act 1, then Act 2,
oh, yeah,
and then Act 3.
Yeah, Act 3.
Yeah.
She's full blown crazy.
Well, and man.
After Singed works on her.
Yeah,
Which, I love Singed.
yeah, he was really.
He's
cool.
one of my favorite characters in game before I watched this show. And every scene he was in, I was just like, all right, full attention. I got to pay attention now.
I was so worried when I was like, I don't know about this show, because I was hesitant. I didn't know it was gonna be awesome. I thought as soon as I watched the show, it was gonna be it was gonna just be so much stuff condensed into one thing that it wasn't gonna be good. So it'd be here's Shaco, and here's a Shiv, and it's going into Silver, and just so much into one thing. Not that at all.
Yeah.
They really toned it down, which is really, really good.
I think, one, that was smart for two reasons, because it's not too hard for a bunch of people to follow.
Yeah.
And you have potential for so much more.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they did 6 or 7 characters, but the game has 150, and each one of those characters' lore, I'm not going to say every one of those characters' lore, but most of the characters' lore is just as deep, just as interesting. There's an entire universe of stuff to explore here.
Yeah, because sometimes when you look at movies like Marvel and DC, they show their hand really quickly, where they'll do something just to flashy, but it's well, now that you've done that, you can't do this other stuff.
Yeah.
And luckily, League did not do that. They could have put every Piltover character in there.
Yeah.
They could have put a lot of Nox's characters in, when the Noxian ship comes over and stuff.
Yeah.
And they could have just went full blown ham, but they didn't. Which, again, I'm beating a dead horse. It was very good. It was very good pacing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Oh, I kind of forgot we get a third story with Echo and Heimer, but
I have a theory
Just
about that.
kind of a
It's
just
a
kind of
little
a touch at
offshoot.
the end there.
yeah. Let's get into some dislikes.
That was, now that you bring up Heimerdinger, that was actually one of my dislikes.
Okay.
So there were certain things that aren't in the lore, and they're off a little bit, and I understand why they did it, because it actually ended up working for the story the way they portrayed it, but it wasn't in the lore. For instance, Heimerdinger was very against magic stuff in the show, and he's not that way in game, which is strange to me.
but
See,
is the in-game adaptation post or pre what we're seeing?
This is pre.
It's the show is pre-game.
pre-game.
So we're assuming that
okay.
there's something that happens that gets him yes, okay, now he is full into Hex Tech.
Which I think
because
is,
do you remember there
Echo.
was a cinematic trailer with Echo and Heimerdinger? Do you remember that? Mm-mm. Where he creates the little time turn. I think it was when Echo was released.
Okay.
It was them hanging out together. So when they started hanging out together, I'm like, oh, this is similar to the cinematic trailer. But
So you think Echo is his turnaround point where he's like, maybe a Hex Tech isn't all bad.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
maybe that, or
Because when Heimer goes to where, sorry, I cut you
Oh,
off.
you're fine.
When Heimer goes and sees Echo's how he's living, and he's like, you did all of this, given your the conditions of poverty and other
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and you've created this small little utopia, and you could have used this technology for something other than skateboards. And Echo's like, but why? That's what is fun to me, and that's what makes our quality of life better. And I don't know. It kind of like opened Heimer's eyes. So I think like over time, him and Echo will. I don't know.
See, because I think either that, I think Echo is Heimer's turning point, or because Heimer is old, right?
Very old.
I'm wondering if something happened early on in Heimer's life that turned him off to magic. That like he was very into it, and then like has tried to keep it at bay, and then. Because then Jace like finally like figures it out and he's just like, well, okay. Like,
so that's another thing is they imply that Heimerdinger is old enough
to have seen Rune Wars.
to have seen the Rune Wars, and Rune Wars in League is like basically some people got a hold of some what's called world runes, and they just went ham on each other and blew up half the world.
Yeah, your classic. I find magic. I conquer the world.
Exactly.
Kind of thing, yeah.
But like everyone had one, and so it was magical nuclear holocaust. But they're implying that Heimerdinger was old enough to be around for all of that and was like present. But the Rune Wars in League canon, as far as I know, was 1,000 years ago, more than 1,000 years ago. But they implied that he's only 300 years old.
or maybe it was an implication that he was seen the aftermath of it. I can't
Or,
remember
like,
the exact.
or maybe it was
Yes.
like he had seen like the visions of like the past or something. I don't know,
Okay.
but
I don't know.
it's kind of
It's just
nitty-gritty.
inconsistencies with the lore. The person who I think they messed up the most, which again I'm kind of split on this because it works for the story that they told, was Victor.
Really?
His lore is very different than how they portray it in the show.
I kind of like the show's version
Yeah.
better.
No, that's what I'm
think
saying.
They
Like,
did it so well.
it's super worked in the show, and like it was awesome, but it's just not. It's not Victor's lore.
And I get where you're coming from, but I think at some point, like if you stick so hard to the lore, like I think it makes storytelling really hard.
because people still like.
Well, the thing is, the story's already told. It's already written down. But, and again, I'm totally with you that like the show was better and it totally worked for him. But if you mess with one thing, and because all these stories are so interconnected, that messes with something else, and it messes with something else, and it just kind of chain effects to where now Piltover and Zahn is not the same story at all, and you just
Right.
make something totally different.
But at the same time, like they have the capability to change their own lore, right? Because that happens a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean,
That's true.
it's not like anyone's forcing them or someone else is adapting there. They're just like, well, we made the characters. I think we can just change some of this up a bit.
You know who?
And I didn't think it was too bad.
You know who I really didn't like, but in kind of a good way.
Oh, like you loved hating him?
No,
You didn't like Jace?
no. Jason's fine.
Oh,
Caitlyn,
oh, they
She
kind of
bugged
did her.
me.
They kind of did her dirty.
she bugged
Because
me.
because you thought she was annoying, or
She's also
what's
super
up?
ugly. What's up with that?
Yeah, man. Like,
they made her like. I didn't think she
I
was.
mean, I'm not
ugly.
objectifying
I
the
thought
cartoon, but
I'm just calling it like it is. In the game,
they made her like
good looking.
Well, they're changing like all of her pictures and
Yeah.
stuff. Like they're redoing all that. But they made her face like super angular
Yeah.
and like.
Yeah, it was weird.
I don't know. I think she just kind of bugged me a little bit, but like in okay way. Like it wasn't a bad thing.
Mm.
Just I guess that's her character.
I do
You know, the whole like come from a rich family type thing. And
I do feel like they didn't really get into her as much as they could have. It was just like, yeah, and also Caitlyn's here. Like,
but okay, end of Act 2, where Jinx,
Lights the flare, and they have that
yes,
battle scene stuff.
oh my gosh, I love that.
yeah,
I love that so much, just because like, you know, the fireflights or whatever they're called,
hmm
you know, come in and Jinx is just going ham, and you could like, I remember like Vi's face, like looking at her, just like, what the heck?
yeah.
But-
Like this poor little girl that she had abandoned, who was helpless and couldn't do anything right, is now just like beating these people to a pulp, and you know that's not the powder that I remember.
And then that leads to Act 3.
Act 3. So if Act 2 was the total setup for Act 3, I think Act 3 paid it off.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
I was super into it. A lot of storylines that we yeah, okay.
Okay, wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Who is the counselor chick that her mom,
Medarda.
yeah,
The Noxian woman.
Yeah.
What about her?
Well, like I'm talking about the councilwoman, not the mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
the daughter.
Yeah, the daughter.
What
Do you
about
think she'll be a playable character?
No.
her? No.
No,
She's
No.
just a
She's
politician.
just yeah.
Yeah.
because
The mom might be.
see, I guess I'll get into this in a minute, but like when Jinx, after that big, grabs the gem, whatever,
The Hextech crystal.
the crystal, sticks it in her gun that's all, jerry rigged with runes and everything, and launches that rocket. There's like 1 minute or 1 second where the councilwoman's just like, it looks like it lights, like her back lights up in gold, and then she's like, and like looks behind really
Mhm.
quick.
Yeah.
So part of me is thinking that she has.
I think she kills everyone in that room except for Jace. I think she kills everyone in that room. Is my prediction.
Interesting.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
See, I don't know. The counselor woman, I think, has powers or something.
Powers.
She's got something. Maybe not powers, but
Okay.
because like she saw it, and I'm wondering if like can she's like,
See the future?
I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, not far enough ahead to help her.
I don't know. It's
But talk about an emotion. Well, we're talking about the rocket scene, like when she's got them all tied up at the table. Like
Yeah,
I was feeling the
she's like,
tension.
do you want me to sit in the Jinx spot or the powder spot?
Yeah, that was rough.
There was a lot of tension in that scene. I was feeling it. Like I was like edge of my seat, paying full attention. Like, oh man.
Oh,
I really like that scene because Jinx ends up killing Silco in the process of the scuff.
By accident.
And Silco ends up saying, like, I was never going to turn you in for what
Yeah,
for,
what
for,
she's done.
for Zon, pretty much. It's either you get to keep Jinx or you get Zon. You get independent sovereignty and you get
Jace
Zon.
wanted Silco to turn in Jinx to like stand trial for crimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
and Silco said he wasn't going to.
He said he wasn't going to do it. I don't believe him. Like, I think they set it up as this big mystery because, like, I don't know. Of course you're going to say that. You're dying. She's right there. You're tied up. You're her hostage. So, what do you guys think? Do you think I kind of think he honestly would have given her up.
I don't think he would have.
I think he might have.
I disagree with you.
Because-
I think he was.
Do you remember
he
the-
was like super into.
Do you remember
and I
the
think that's
creepy
what-
father-daughter stuff earlier?
Oh, jeez. Okay, yeah. So I want to talk about that, and then I'll get back to you, Edgar. But there was some moments in Act 2 and Act 3 where Jinx was getting like really cozy with Silco, and like they talk really close to each other, and like they get in each other's faces in like a kind of semi-romantic way. And I was sitting there thinking, like, please don't be weird. Please don't be weird. Please don't be weird. There's this scene where Vi is interrogating some goon and is like, oh, where's Jinx? And is like, oh, Silco has her. It's like his daughter. And I was like, oh, thank God. I thought that was going to be weird.
I don't think he was going to turn her in, mainly because he can't put the needle in his eyeball.
Oh, he needed someone to poke
And
him.
also with him, like, taking her to go, get healed from Singed.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
And,
so him taking in Jinx, for one, I think that's a great...
Because he could have just taken Jinx to Jace, beat up, maybe.
but the deal hadn't been made by then.
That's
had
true.
it? I
That's
can't
true.
remember.
But I think that's what makes Silco such an interesting character. It was his genuine care for Jinx, and like he's not just I'm a bad guy. But like he has hopes and dreams and aspirations and relationships.
Okay, just to play devil's advocate, if when Jace extended the offer, why didn't he just say no immediately?
I mean, obviously he was thinking about it.
Okay, so there was some room for debate.
Sure.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying. Like, I think it's cool they put up this mystery. There is no definitive answer, and I hope we don't ever get one.
True.
I hope it's just kind of the
he's
thing.
dead now, so
Yeah, but they could do something where it's like, oh, we found a note in his office where, you were going to trade me all along. I hope that's not the case, but I don't know. I think about, like, this was his life's mission. This was what he wanted. I don't know. I think it puts doubt in my mind. I can't say 100% yes, he cared for her. He was going to save her. There's a little bit of me that's like, you know what? He may have done it. He may have done it. But, again, I think that's cool that we'll never know. It was one of those mysteries I was okay with.
yeah.
But that was, I think, my favorite scene after the the whole dinner table.
Yeah.
And then like when she like stands up, puts the gem in the rocket. Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
Yeah.
That was by far my favorite scene.
Who's your favorite character in the whole series?
Jinx, by
Jinx?
far.
Okay. Why?
Just the character development.
Okay.
Like
He's going from some helpless little girl to some psychotic killer.
right, but you can see like every
Yeah.
stage.
I agree with you.
And like the parts where maybe it could have been turned around.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And, because who knows, if Vi didn't get taken off that rooftop, maybe she could have
Could have turned her around. Yeah.
turned her around.
Maybe.
Or, if Vi didn't go to prison, just different things. It was just really cool where I think she had the best character development all the way through.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What about you?
My favorite character is Victor.
Mine
Hands
too,
down.
dude. I love Victor.
Victor's really cool.
I think it's similar to Jinx in that I just loved watching his character development because he he's such a complicated character because he really clings to his values where he goes against Jace goes all over the place. I'll be real, but Victor's no, we made Hex Tech to improve people's lives. We did not make it for weapons, and we're going to reveal it during the Day of Progress during the holiday. Jace decides not to because he wants to make shady deals or whatever. And he's kind of upset about it, whatever. And then he realizes he's dying, and he kind of is well, maybe we can use Hex Tech to solve this.
Yeah.
And you kind of see his mind change over time where he's what am I willing to do in order to
Victor.
survive? Victor is
Yeah.
what am I
Yeah.
willing to do in order to survive? And he ends up going back to Singed, who he met as a kid, kind of with a puppy, a puppy with his tail between his legs, where
Yeah,
he's
definitely.
hey, you were right.
Yes.
Kind of a thing.
That's why. Okay, so
It's-
they didn't get into Singed as much as I wish they did.
Yeah.
Because Singed is an amazing.
That's going to
character.
be next season.
They're
there is.
definitely going to flesh out Singed next season. But that's the thing that he was oh, I thought you understood, but then he comes back years later I get it now.
Yeah, and it's I really want to see what they do with Victor because I think he's still in a spot where he's not he's still in this gray area where he's he's still quote unquote doing all the bad things for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
But over time he's gonna succumb to power.
Well, and I think that a lot of that too was with the secretary chick that he killed.
Mhm.
I don't know if she was really a secretary, the researcher,
the,
scientist,
their intern,
assistant
yeah.
or
Intern.
whatever.
and how he just you could tell that really got to him.
Yeah. He was going to commit suicide after that.
Yeah. And Jason's yo, what's up? And he's oh, just looking over to the balcony.
Which is a cool payoff for when Victor saved Jace from suicide earlier.
But
Yours
was Victor as well.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, I love Victor. I loved his progression. I was crossing my fingers the whole series. Please show me a Victor transformation. Please, 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 please. I got a taste. They didn't do what I wanted.
I think they're just they're teasing you, dude.
It worked.
Yeah, I think they're just we can't give it I guess kind of in the same boat. He touches the thing and it's Victor. He's got the thing.
I think that would have been stupid if I was if he's just boom, there's Victor.
You're right, but that's what I wanted in the moment.
I
I'm
was
just
feeling it. I was
"All
yes,
right."
give me a Victor
And then
transformation,
you
please, please.
Go grab that arm thing, put it on you.
Yeah.
And
Well, see,
No.
this whole season, I really felt like it was the Jinx and Jace story,
yeah, for sure.
right? Next season is probably going to be a lot more Victor.
So
And Singed, maybe.
So for predictions, what do you think? Where they're going to take the story?
Oh,
What characters
we're
are they
gonna
going to
be here a
introduce?
while.
So here's something I was calling this all
Hey,
season
Without
we were-
watching YouTube videos.
without watching YouTube
Okay.
videos. I was
Both
calling this
Sean
all
and
season.
Sean asked me, he's like, "What do you think of this?" And I was like, "Oh, I think it's this." And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Vander, their
Punchy dad?
their dad, yeah, Punchy Dad, who quote unquote dies in that explosion with Jinx. I'm calling that's Warwick,
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Well, did you see Warwick hanging from the ceiling at the
Very end, yeah.
very end?
No, I paused it because me and my wife, we watched it together, and I'm just sitting there screaming "That's Warwick! There he is!" Oh man, and there's so many hints that they drop that Vander is Warwick. in Jinx's visions of Vander. Like, Vander will have really sharp teeth and stuff. I think when Vander drinks the shimmer or whatever it's called, the purple stuff, and he transforms, like, you can hear some of those, like, growls. But yeah, 100% Vander is Warwick. I actually went back and read Warwick lore in game, and they dropped some major hints in that too. Like, he's like, "Oh, I don't remember my past. All I remember is a bearded man running around the lanes." And I was like, "Okay, all right." So,
all right, that's pretty safe. So, what do you think? Any other predictions as far as like story, characters, anything like that?
I think we're going to see Blitzcrank.
Really? I think we're going to see Camille.
Oh, Camille!
Yeah, because we're still in Piltover.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think Camille might make. Also, Camille's kind of like a savant of.
Camille's kind of a bad guy.
Kind of, yeah.
She's kind of like a family enforcer.
Yeah, she's kind of up there. That's what I mean. She's
Yeah.
not like a street thug or anything.
No.
I think we might get introduced to Camille, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. Are we going to see anyone from Noxus? Are they bringing Noxus in? A Swain, maybe?
I don't know about Noxus, but I think this may not happen. But it would be interesting if if we do get more. I mean, if they go the direction of like the Rune Wars and stuff. If we get like a Rise or something.
You think they'll do a bit of a backshoot?
Like a
by the way,
flashback.
the wizard who saves Jace as a kid, is that Rise?
I don't know because he was human. And
See,
he didn't look
yeah.
like Rise, so I'm like, eh.
I agree. I think it's just some random wizard.
Same. I
But
think
I've
it's
heard a
just
lot of people say,
some
"Oh,
guy."
there's Rise." I don't think it's Rise.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a flashback of Rise or something like that. But
Oh, I can't wait for 3 more years till they make another season.
Seriously, man. Oh,
so wait, do you think is it confirmed that Arcane is continuing, or that they're that's the end of that and they're picking up a new?
they said
Arcane.
Arcane is getting a season 2.
Okay,
So
it's getting a
I think
season
just
2.
based on the title, yeah, it's going to be about Piltover and Zon and stuff. But I think we're going to see
Can't
Victor
we get,
fleshed out, Singe fleshed out.
20 episodes, 40-something minutes long, please. Netflix, if you're listening. Do
Anyway,
a full Grey's Anatomy season,
That's Arcane. Watch it on Netflix.
Please watch it on Netflix. It's really good.
It's good.
I mean, it's okay.
Even if you don't like League.
My wife's favorite character was the Poro, so take that as you will. She only watched 20 minutes of it, so that's why.
See you next week. Like and subscribe. Just smash that like button.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Did you say Tuesday?
See you next Tuesday. That's never mind.